Welcome to Level Cap Podcast, home of the Level Cap Podcast. Can I take your order?
Or otherwise.
Good morning, Marco.
Ohio, Italy.
So, how are things in the land of level 99 games?
Well,
What do you have on the docket for us today?
so we're gonna have a really interesting docket today. We're gonna talk about, general stuff at the start, give you a little bit of fresh news off the boat, get you guys in the loop with our Game Club game for this week, our character of the week, and of course we will have our question segment and our mystery segment that won the pitch a few episodes ago. So even Brad will be surprised.
I'm cowering in fear of what this mystery segment might be.
Let me tell you, it's not Dark Soulsified.
Oh, thank goodness.
Yeah, I don't think I'll let Dark Soulsified pass again for our sanity,
Right.
for everyone's sanity. So Brad, how are you on this fine Albuquerque, New Mexico morning?
I'm doing well. Just got up, had some breakfast. Now I'm ready to face the day. I'm doing a lot of work these days on 7th Cross. We're up to V30, V30.5.
Oh, geez,
and that's
what?
pretty exciting because the 0.5 means that we've been at V30 for 5 versions and have not made any major changes. So I think that this may be very close to the one that gets to your shelves. So I'm going to put together a few adventures, try and put together a tabletop simulator module, and get people testing it out pretty soon.
Oh, that sounds great.
But yeah, if you like our Game Club game for this week, you will like the new version of 7th Cross quite a bit.
Ooh.
Should I tell you about it? Should I spoil some details on stream?
Yes, please. This is why people come here, Brad, for the news.
All right, it is a puzzle platformer cooperative board game, if you can believe all that.
Wow. Is it the I
No,
think the
it's
universe
not.
choked
No,
me.
it's not. It's actually more like I guess it's kind of like the Crypt of the Necrodancer of board games.
Oh my
if
gosh,
that
here
makes
we
sense.
go. We just changed the game. Okay.
Well, Crypt of the
Interesting.
Necrodancerified is a bit of a mouthful, so I don't expect that'll catch on.
Yeah.
Not
Not like Dark Soulsified caught on.
Yeah. So, but anyway, it's this, you can push blocks, there's traps, there's terrain, etc. Unlike your regular tactical board game where it's like top down and you move left and right and forward and back, it's 2D, so you go left and right and up and down, and the castle is like this 2D map that you climb up through as you play.
Oh, that's awesome. So that's where the Metroidvania comes in.
It's pretty neat. Yeah, like I mean, when I say like, oh, it's a board game, but it's like a side scroller, like people think like, oh, that's got to be pretty hammy. Like there's like Pixel Lincoln, I think, is the only one that did that, and that didn't turn out too well. So, but it's really good. We've been playing it a lot, and it's been a lot of fun.
Didn't Jasco do the Mega Man board game that is actually a side
Yeah,
scroller?
but Mega Man. Well, no, Mega Man board game is like a dice chucker.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, it does feel like a dice chunker.
It's not. And in this game, it's not like, oh, make your roll to jump to the platform or anything. It's more like puzzle style, like, can I hit these guys? Can I move this block? Can I convince this enemy to walk on the trap? It's kind of like, almost like Chip's Challenge or Crypt of Necrodancer or those kind of roguelikes where like I go, monsters go, but they move in a predictable pattern, and so I'm trying to solve the puzzle.
Oh, that's great. I think...
So it is deterministic. You know how the enemies are going to respond to you.
Oh, no.
And so your life pool is more of a resource, and you have to decide, well, I got to get through this castle with this much life. How am I going to, where can I afford to let the monsters hit me so that I can make these plans work out?
Brad, I'm so sorry, but that sounds a lot like the Dark Souls board game.
Well, You mean the Dark Souls board game?
Yeah,
which is currently out now.
Yeah. I'm talking about. I'm not saying that it's the Dark Souls of board games. I'm saying like that sounds a lot like the actual Dark
I
Souls.
mean, yeah,
board
because the
game.
Dark Souls board game is the Dark Souls of board games. But no, this is pretty different. And first of all, like I said, it's diceless. So that's already a big difference. But it's also what's the word? Well, I haven't researched that game too much, and I haven't played it myself.
Yeah, but the
I think I
entire
saw one tutorial
deterministic monster
video.
AI thing, pretty
Yeah.
pretty similar.
So the bosses actually don't fight deterministically. They have a couple of behaviors that they'll choose from, and so you kind of have to gamble against their behaviors. But you could see for yourself. You can see for yourself. Our behaviors are a lot easier than their behaviors. I did watch their AI video.
Oh, I see.
But you could see for yourself when it comes out.
Oh, I'm so hyped.
Yeah, we got a couple other really cool mechanics. Like there's a stage mechanic where you do a stage and then you go to Sanctuary and you level up your characters and you make story decisions and you become good or evil and drive the plot, and then you go to another stage. But each stage is not necessarily the same kind of game. Like some stages are just one big boss. Some stages are like you have to go through all these rooms. Other stages are like defend this point for X number of monsters coming in. So each stage kind of is a different mini game of its own that you have to solve with the tools at hand.
Oh, Brad, you're just making me want to play this game even more. Even more.
Well, not too much longer. Like I said, we're going to try and get a tabletop simulator module. Probably by the end of November is my hope.
Awesome.
I'll have it in a position where I'm happy for everyone to try it out.
I see. Well, it seems that you guys are on the 5th version of the 35th version, right? Or 32nd? What?
The 5th version of the 30th version. So.
5th version of the 30th version. So that means you guys are getting pretty close. But speaking of games that are coming out, Temporal
Marco,
Odyssey.
wait. Marco, I didn't ask you how your day was first before we get to all that stuff.
Thank you for.
I went into a segue, and I need to work on that. So, how is your day in sunny Philippines?
Well, not sunny because it's raining a lot. I think there's something called like habagat or something. It just means winds. The winds are blowing, the rain is coming. So it's a bit of a somber mood. It's not a sunny
island life.
Island life. Jimmy Buffett would be proud. Sorry. Aside from that, I mean, it's just been a busy day doing some stuff on the social medias and just doing a lot of work. But aside from that, I'm really happy to be on this podcast with you, and I'm really happy to talk about whether or not Temporal Odyssey is going to be on Kickstarter when we listen to this podcast.
Well, let me ask you an important question. When you are listening to this podcast, is it next Wednesday?
It is going to be 4 days from now because we're recording this on... No, not 4 days 13th. From now. Yeah, we're recording this on the 13th, so this should be out on like the 18th.
Okay. Then you will be able to join the Temporal Odyssey Kickstarter this Friday, if you're listening to this now. If you're listening to this the day it comes out, this Friday. If you listen to it late, like you're on YouTube or something, or maybe you forgot to check it out, or maybe you're new to the podcast, then it's probably already up. If, however, you're listening to this like years in the future after, the fallout and, like the world has all been destroyed, there may no longer be any Temporal Odyssey left, but you can use your time machine and come back to Friday, October 20th, and back it on Kickstarter.
Well, Brad, you're thinking a little bit too fatalistically about it. Dear listener, if you're listening to this 20-something years, 40-something years into the future, and the Kickstarter's probably done, watch out for the Kickstarter for Temporal Odyssey 10 coming soon.
I see. Wow, that's incredibly optimistic.
Well,
I'd love to print Temporal Odyssey 10. This is a really cool game though, because you do get to like make modular timelines and stuff. So kind of like Dominion, the game can change, or even I guess Millennium Blade is probably the best comparison. You can swap in and swap out character sets to make a very different game. So it wouldn't be hard to make Temporal Odyssey 10 and build it into the game and have a really cool, integrated game setup.
Oh man, I'm so hyped for this one. We're playing this on we're we're gonna play this on Tabletop Sim and post it on YouTube or Twitch at some point, right? Right?
Yeah. We're planning to get together for some games tomorrow, which will be before this podcast comes out. So pay no attention. We've already done that, and it was great.
Oh yeah, we did.
I could say that. I could say that with confidence, even though in the future, though, because the game is pretty great. I've been playing this for like a year and a half now, and I've seen all the evolutions of it, and it's a pretty great game.
Awesome. So, Brad, speaking of great games, you want to talk about our Game Club game for this week?
Yes, Steam World Dig 2.
Yes.
This
Awfully
week.
optimistic of you, Brad.
And I have to say, wasn't SteamWorld Dig 1 the very first game club that we ever did?
I think so, yeah. So I thought this was a cool callback. Like, I thought you picked this on purpose to, like, commemorate, because this is episode 40. So it's like, ooh.
Is it? No, I picked it on purpose because the game is good. But it is, yeah, I think it was before we even instantiated the Game Club segment. Like, SteamWorld Dig was something we talked about for an hour on the podcast.
Yeah, it was a great game.
Yeah, go back and listen to episode 1.
Yeah,
go back. You can see how far me and Marco have come.
We've come so far, Brad. We've come so far. We've gotten our group dynamic together.
We fought so hard and got so far.
And in the end, it all mattered because we're here in this episode 40. So, Brad, tell me what SteamWorld Dig 2 is all about.
So, SteamWorld Dig 2, you are a mining robot who's trying to find your lost friend, and your friend's gotten lost in these mines, and you go down into the mines and you dig down to try and find your friend, but also to get treasures. And as you get these treasures, you can take them up to the surface and get fabulous rewards and upgrades for your bot.
Yep.
Eventually, as you dig down, you'll encounter storyline events, and as the story develops, you'll end up going to fabulous locations such as ancient forbidden temples, the heart of a volcano, weird underground forests, all kinds of neat stuff. It's the world feels very big. The game is really expansive, and it's very immersive, and it's nonstop action.
Yeah, that's true.
It's only 5 hours long, tops. Like, if you're playing seriously, 5 hours. If you want 100% it with the help of the internet, maybe like 6-7 hours.
That's still a pretty long time.
I did 100% it with the help of the internet.
Oh, wow.
Because I was enjoying it so much, I didn't want it to be over. So I went and played another 2 hours and got all the stuff.
It's such a good game, Brad. Oh,
it is.
I'm only like an hour or two in. So I don't know a lot about the fabulous locations. But, I played a lot of SteamWorld Dig 1. Like, I think I, 90%ed that game or something. So, like, when I played it and I compared it to SteamWorld Dig 2, it's like, oh, you guys just did the same thing, but, like, better?
Well, it's kind of like, it's a true sequel in that sense. Like, you get all the tools that you had from 1 really quickly, right? Like, you'll have, by the time you get to, like, an hour in, you'll have just about everything you had in, by the end of game 1.
Yeah.
So it's got kind of that Banjo-Kazooie or Banjo-Tooie effect where they just give you all the tools again, and so they can get onto the cool new stuff. And the new stuff is really cool. Like, you get this sweet jetpack. There's a grappling hook, which is amazing.
Oh, man. I haven't gotten there yet.
There's a grenade launcher. It's just fun stuff. Stuff. You don't get any of the Vectron upgrades, though. Well, I don't want to spoil the story.
Yeah, let's not spoil the story.
Electricity is not a thing you get access to in this game. I don't think that's too much of a spoiler.
Yeah, it is called Steam World, right? Like,
well, in 1, right? In the first one, like, Rusty finds electric upgrades.
Yeah, he does.
And these are kind of like this mysterious sci-fi thing because electricity is like what the evil robots use in this universe.
Yeah, so
the evil robots are lightning powered, and the good robots are steam powered.
Yeah, it's very interesting because what do you call this?
Such a cool world.
In SteamWorld Dig, it's actually like the aesthetic is that it's sci-fi western, right? Like, all the characters are these robot androids who run on Steam, and they live on this like western style planet, but spaceships are a thing, right? So
Yeah. Well, also, there are humans on this planet, but the humans have to live underground, and presumably that is due to some kind of nuclear fallout. Like you get the sense, kind of like with what's another like Adventure Time.
Yeah, yeah,
Like you
yeah.
don't know, like you're like, oh, okay, they're in this magical fantasy world, and then you kind of like look into it a little more, and you're like, oh, this whole place is this giant post-apocalyptic wasteland. Um,
Yep.
and when you meet the humans in SteamWorld, it's kind of jarring what they've become, because now the humans have to live underground and the robots all live on the surface.
Yeah, because they can handle the toughness of the
Yeah,
world or something like that. But yeah,
yeah, and even the guys underground are pretty heavily mutated. So
yeah. So like that's the thing I like about like SteamWorld Dig 2 is that I think it. Did you play SteamWorld Heist?
I didn't play Heist yet.
Okay, so I think SteamWorld Dig 2 kind of melds SteamWorld Dig and Heist. Like the universes get connected by two. So
Mhm.
like you'll see a lot of nods to like, this spacefaring stuff, the pirates or whatever. Like you'll see a lot of nods
Mhm.
to that in 2. And like you just said, like I got into like the first hour of the game, and they in the first literal 5 minutes they give you sprinting without restrictions. Like there's no stamina meter or whatever, and you can just sprint. Oh, the controls feel so good. I'm so.
Yeah, it's a very very tight platformer. Um,
Aw.
so in addition to like the puzzle game of mining and the collection game of mining, and this does again, I'm gonna say Banjo Tooie or Banjo Kazooie, because this does feel very much like a collection adventure game.
Yeah, it does. You're collecting minerals and ores.
Yeah, and it's pretty neat to go through and find all this stuff. Buying the upgrades is great. I mean, the whole game is really great. I kind of just wish there was a SteamWorld Dig 3 right now,
Yeah.
because that's what I'd be doing right now is playing SteamWorld Dig 3.
Whoever the company that who's the developer behind this? They deserve a
Uh,
gold star medal. Yeah.
let me double check that, but I guess it's to Image and Form International.
Well, Image Informed International, you have captured our hearts and captured our minds. Brad, do you recommend this Game Club game to all of our listeners?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Go play SteamWorld Dig and SteamWorld Dig 2. It doesn't really matter which order you play them in, but I guess 2 is it's kind of like Banjo Kazooie. Play if you know you're gonna like both, play 1 then play 2. If you're not sure, just go ahead and play 2. Yeah. Well, I guess actually probably SteamWorld Dig 2 is a better sequel than Banjo Tooie is.
Oh,
But
interesting.
I mean, Banjo
point.
2 is a little overcomplicated.
That's
I
fair.
think is the general consensus.
Okay, that's fair. Oh man, 2 is just so good. Like even when they changed the art style got better. What?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it's like
And was it that much of a change? Because like looking back at it, I mean, it was still those composite sprites. And
it was
such. Like
composite sprites.
I don't
Yeah.
know. They changed it too much.
No,
They may have rezzed it up a little bit.
No, I think the big difference here is that in 1, it was like Adobe animated Flash, like they look like cartoon sprites. In this one, I think they
Yeah.
took the direction wherein they kind of look like digitized paintings, and they don't have hard outlines.
Yeah, maybe it's more of a cell shade kind of look.
Yeah, it looks like a lot
Um,
like painty, anime-y. It looks great.
Yeah.
It looks great. I thought.
Oh yeah, it's a gorgeous game.
Yeah, it's a great game. It's a great game. I highly recommend it as well, even if I'm only an hour in, buy it. See, the big thing about these kinds of game club games that we talk about is that they won't hurt your wallet. Because, like, SteamWorld Dig's like, what, $15, $10 on Steam? So
I think it's like $10 now.
oh my gosh. So just get
The
it.
original might be like $5.
Oh, wow. Really? Just get it. Whatever.
Well, let
These
me check.
people deserve
It's
your
10
money.
on it's 10 on Steam. 10 for the original. I think it's 15 or 20 for the new one.
All right. Whatever. These things are cheapo for the amount of quality gameplay that they give you. So there you go.
Yeah, cheaper than a movie ticket
And
for the hours you're gonna get out of it.
and most movies are bad. Okay, let's move on to our next segment, Brad, because I know that a lot of people are very interested to hear about the poster boy for Devastation of Indies. Our character of the week is
Yeah, Eligor Larrington, the one of the cover characters for Battlecon Devastation. So, Eligor, Well, everybody, I think everyone who's played BattleCon knows this character pretty well. But for those who don't, he is one of the starter characters. He's the cover character for Devastation. He is a kind of like medium tank, I guess. If we were to talk, that he's like a bruiser type character.
Oh, you mean a brawler? No, I think he's a lightning bruiser. That's like a TV tropes term.
Uh huh.
So like a lightning.
Yeah, I could see something like that.
Yeah, he's a lightning bruiser. So it's like he's fast. Like he seems to have all the stats and everything, but it usually is conditional. So like in Eligor, he basically has a lot of movement, but his movement is either clunky or conditional, right? So that's really who he is.
He's got a lot of cool combat tricks, but they're very very archetypical. So, like he can do all this crazy stuff if he predicts you well, or if he's playing directly against what you're playing. And so, as a player, there's a lot of depth to the character, even though he's a basic starter character.
Yep.
So this is one of the designs that I'd say I'm probably more proud of in Devastation is Eligor's design, because he's held up and he continues to be a great character for both beginners and advanced players.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. Eligor is a very interesting character, especially because he. Oh well, we're gonna broach into mechanics by talking about this, but like his counter style is like one of my favorite style designs in the game. So yeah, it's like so if you're a listener and you don't know what the counter style does, is that if Eligor plays counter and his base is the same as the enemy's base, Eligor like stuns that guy immediately and like gets a free beat in exchange.
Yeah, it's one of the few start to beat stuns in the game,
and it's really good. Start to beat stuns are almost broken. Like, they're that good.
Yeah, and it means he has an answer to just about every situation, because if you can counter anything, then you can counter anything except your opponent's unique base.
Yep.
So
it's so fun.
Well, yeah. He's a great character. He's one of the starter characters in BattleCon Online, which is our next BattleCon game release.
Yes.
Woohoo. I'm online. It's going so well.
Oh man,
I'm so excited. We are moving to the alpha probably next week. Like, it's really just a matter. Like, we've got all the accounts in and everything. We just have to give everybody their Kickstarter rewards, and then put the game, and throw them into the game.
And once everybody's
we got to do
there,
some stress test.
Yeah.
One stress test of the only thing remaining. Like, we have to make sure that 1,000 people can log in simultaneously. But we're writing a tool to test that, and then we'll be ready to invite 1,000 people in.
Oh, that's gonna be great, Brad. I have a question for you about Eligor.
Yeah,
tell us about his lore, his background. Who is he as a person? Is he human?
Yeah. So Eligor is a human monk. He's actually a Templar, which is sort of a monk knight hybrid. So he was left as a baby outside this monastery. They took him in and trained him to become a Templar, and so when he grew up under the tutelage of all these monks, reading all the ancient scriptures and the stories of heroes, and he said, "Well, when I grow up and get out of here, I'm going to be a legendary hero." And so he, through various circumstances, he gets a hold of this legendary magic sword. And he goes out across the land to deal justice. So the Templars are kind of like judge, jury, executioner. They wander from rural villages in the Kingdom of Jeffries, and they are like like wandering judges. And they if people have disputes or if people are being victimized, they sort it out.
I see. So they're like the Spanish Inquisition meets Judge Dredd.
Yeah, kind of like that, in a medieval world.
I see.
And yeah, so he made a name for himself, hunting down a lot of famous criminals in the countryside. He was honored by King Alexian, and the badge of honor that he wears is that red crest that he keeps on his arm with the lion symbol on it.
Oh, is that the crest of like the House Alexian or something?
Yeah, that's Alexian's crest.
So
it marks him as like a distinguished knight of the realm.
Wow, that's awesome.
So, yeah. So his cousin Magdalena has the same name, Magdalena Larrington, Eligor Larrington. And we featured Magdalena previously too, so you can
Watch
catch
an
up on her.
episode.
Yeah. So anyway, his story really begins when Runica comes up and says, like, "Hey everybody, I found out the Dragon Queen is gonna, free Greyheart and destroy the world of men. Anybody want to help me stop this?" And he's the one guy who volunteers to go and fight the dragons.
Of course he is.
So he and Runica embark on this big adventure where they meet up with Schecter and eventually defeat Agenna, and that's kind of the main plot of Devastation. There's a second half to the plot. So Act 2, there's this whole plot with the demons, and I don't want to reveal too much about that because it gives a lot of spoilers in that plot
for the visual novel.
Yeah, for the VN, which after BattleCon Online, probably our next project is to finally make this VN.
Oh, great! That sounds. Work. Oh, Brad.
Yeah,
you're making me excited all over.
So that's the next thing, and then and so after they do all that, Eligor gets promoted to like High Templar, so he's the top dog of the Spanish Inquisition of the realm. I guess if you want to go that far.
You never expect them.
Yeah, and he continues going on adventures, specifically joining up with Rukyuk's Champions of Indians and going to fight giant monsters. So that's the main story of Eligor.
That's awesome. I've always, like, from the box art and from the attacks that he has, I've always imagined Eligor to be a bit more of, like, the serious type. But, like, ever since I found out about the lore and, like, heard him on BattleCon Online, he's basically shonen, right? He's basically
I mean, he is, I suppose a little bit, like he's kind of a shonen hero, I guess, but not like
Hikaru.
I guess not like the Naruto type. Like I can do it. He's more like the
Sasuke.
I almost want to say like
he's Sasuke.
Sasuke. Oh, I was gonna say Neji, like Hyuga Neji, but
he is like Hyuga Neji, right.
A little bit, down to the white hair and everything.
Oh my god!
But wait, Hyuga doesn't. He has white eyes, not white hair.
Yeah,
never mind.
Well,
forget
Jiraiya
that.
has white hair.
But I guess when I say like he's more of like the serious shonen hero. Like we got to get this done. So maybe like L or Light, more kind of.
Yeah. Okay.
Someone who's hardened to the world.
And he's more of like, it's like, I'm gonna be a hero, but it's like, he's not like what do you call that? He's not like a dunce or a ditz. I don't know how to explain.
Yeah.
Like he's not Goku, he's Vegeta, right? Like that's it, right?
Yeah.
All right. So Brad, we know Helger is human. What's his white magic? Wait, not white magic. Wild magic. What's his wild magic?
Wild magic. So the random ability that Eligor has is kind of a weird one. He has an experience boost.
Okay.
So he gets good faster than other people doing the same thing.
On
if
average.
That makes sense.
I see.
On average, yeah. So he learned to become a sword fighter about 10% faster than other people would for the same amount of work.
I see. So he's kind of like a pseudo
So he gets a slightly better return on his time investment when he's training.
That's great. That's good for a guy who plans to be a legendary hero, right?
Yeah. And I think it kind of goes into things like a lot of these wild magic abilities are things that maybe even the person themselves is not aware of. Or things that, because like Eligor wouldn't know that. He doesn't realize that he does that. But it's something that is just true about him. And it subtly helps him to achieve those goals that he has.
I see. Wait.
And so that's sort of what all these abilities are.
Brad, are you trying to tell us something? That we have our own wild magic in the real world?
Maybe we all have a unique special ability.
Yeah.
I think that could be true. I feel like everybody, when you say like everybody's the best at something.
Yeah, that's true. I guess. Yeah.
I like to, even if it's not true, I like to imagine that all of my friends are, are somehow unique and special in their talents and capabilities.
Yeah, that makes sense.
If maybe not in the whole world, at least in like the scope of my world, like as far as I know, everybody that I know is the best at something that I know.
That's fair. And I think that's really interesting. I read a post about this once where people started talking about how there are some mundane coincidences that always happen to them, and maybe that's just our kind of magic. Like some guy was like, whenever what was that? Whenever my toast falls, it always falls butter side up. It's like, oh wow, like that's my magic. My magic.
Well, I think you got shafted. Because that's not a great power. That means you're already dropping toast often enough that you learn that about yourself.
But it mitigates the badness of dropping your toast.
Like ultra minor disaster mitigation.
It's great, right? Yeah. Like I just imagine that maybe the mundane stuff that we do every day is magical in its own way.
Maybe.
Okay, so Brad, can we go into?
It's a cool thought anyway.
Yeah, can we go into mechanics? Short.
Yeah. Tell us about Eligor.
Eligor is we talked about this earlier. He's kind of like a lightning bruiser, or if you want, he's a brawler. I guess that's not an unfair thing to say, right? Like I often call a lot of people who aren't brawlers, but Eligor is actually a brawler. A lot of his design revolves around the use of his vengeance tokens. So Eligor is often what I'd like to call a precision juggernaut. I usually call him that because he looks like a slow lumbering fighter, but like he only works that way if you are precise with how much stun guard you put onto your attacks and how often and how well you can use the counter style. So I feel like Eligor feels a lot like a very finesse-oriented character. And that's very interesting for a design space for a character who's supposed to be a Templar swordsman, right? So you feel like he does a lot of quote-unquote sword play in his mechanics, which I feel is a cool theme. A lot of Eligor's gameplay actually revolves around going second. So that's also really cool, and it ties to his mechanics. I guess his sword training or sword fighting is a lot about counterattacks, and I guess because he's a Templar, or maybe because he's arrogant, does he wait for people to attack him first before he attacks them?
Well, you can't if you're supposed to be like the judge who brings people to trial and and puts their crimes on display. You can't very well attack them first.
That's fair. That's fair. Oh my gosh! See, I'm starting to appreciate this design because Eligor only.
Yeah, it's pretty neat how little things like that come in. But yeah, he wants you to attack him first so that he has an excuse to drag you in.
Yeah, I see. So a lot of Eligor's gameplay actually revolves around that philosophy because. Long story short, Eligor is garbage if he's active player. That's basically this character, right?
Yeah, most of your skills are like, if you got hit this turn, do X. And, very few of them, care about, will give you any benefit for going first. Counter is probably the clear one, but it requires you to do a very accurate prediction.
Yeah, and even then, counter still works even if you're slower, because you'll just stun them start of beat, right? Oftentimes counter is better if you weren't going first to begin with, because stunning them kind of makes the priority irrelevant. But, this character is very interesting to me because, he's a starter character, and he's, like you said, he has so much depth to him, right? A lot of his styles and a lot of his cards are just get a lot of defense, get a lot of power. But even then, it often makes him a little bit more interesting to play compared to Cadenza, for example. Cadenza is just wait until clockwork comes up again, right? But Eligor is a lot of judging what attacks will work. His martial style, which is a style that gains a lot of power if you get hit, and then if you have max tokens. So then the max tokens clause actually means that you have to count how much defense you want to ante onto that attack. Because even if that attack relies solely on getting hit, taking damage, and getting a lot of tokens, it has no innate stun guard on it. So you have to actually use your unique ability, which gives you stun guard, and count how many vengeance you're going to put onto it so that you get the correct number and get that big payout. And that's really satisfying to me, and I think this character is really fun. So that's my mechanics for it. I just love how you've integrated Eligor's theme into his mechanics, and I think that's like the perfect thing. You know, a lot of characters have dissonance with who they are and what they actually do in the game. Like Seth, for example. Like Seth is supposed to be like this oracle who like randomly gains bonuses, but in practice he plays very differently from what that fantasy is.
Well, that's mainly. I mean, I think that's you guys that have decided he's played that way.
That's fair.
I mean, perfect Seth play is you predict and you kill, but yeah, you can predict. You can not predict in kind of that same way, and get a more consistent Seth play.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like if I were Daigo God predictor, right? I would always just perfect predict Seth all the time. That'd be great. But yeah. So Eligor, great character. I highly recommend you guys give him a try if you have not already. If you don't know what set he's from Devastation. Devastation's currently out of print, as far as I know.
There may be a few copies still floating around. I think you can still get one in our online store while supplies last.
Ooh!
But I can't. I could.
No promises.
Confirm that real quick. I think we still have a few copies of Dev left. Devastation. Yeah, we have 50 copies left. So I think they're the last 50 in circulation.
All right. Okay.
So until Dev Remastered, which will be sometime next year, which means you'll probably get it like next Christmas or something.
Okay. Next Christmas, you gave me BattleCon, but now we're ending this segment and going to the next one. Brad, are you ready for our 99 question segment, where I ask you an incomprehensible number of questions? Because, Brad, I'm going to zag on you and take your advice from a few episodes ago. We have 2 questions for you this week.
Okay. Well, hit me with the questions.
So somebody asked, do you ever plan on putting Riflum or Zal Ezra into print BattleCon?
No. I mean, no.
Just
no. Yeah, that's kind of the whole point. I think we talked about this in a previous episode, actually. Riflum is a character who, when he plays attacks, they actually update his cards. So the text on his cards physically changes, and that'd be something that would be very difficult, kind of like really not worth the trouble to do in physical BattleCon.
I see.
And also, we want people to have a reason to go play the online version. You don't want them to be exactly the same.
Yeah, definitely. Right? I mean, like currently, just a little sneak peek for you viewers, a lot of stuff in BattleCon Online, even without the exclusive characters, is different from regular BattleCon, and a lot of these are like balance changes, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there are going to be some balance changes that'll be debuted in War, but that'll be debuted online, but it'll eventually become Devastation Remastered.
Okay, and can we go for another question?
Yeah, go for it.
Can we know more about Fiona Larone, Argent Radio DJ? So I think this is somebody asking for Character of the Week.
She is in Pixel Tactics. I think once upon a time I made a combat kit for her. But it ended up being like the same kit that Iris had.
Yeah, okay.
The promo character. So I don't know. But yeah, we haven't really done much with Fiona. And I think she's a neat character design. But she may just be one of those characters that is buoyed by their obscurity. Like, once you know more about this character, it might be a lot less interesting. So,
that's
I don't know
fair.
if I want to take that away from people. Check out the fanfiction.
All right, check out the fanfiction. If that doesn't exist, make the fanfiction.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd love to, get more content like that from all of you guys. So, that pretty much does it for our 99 questions segment. It was a pretty short one. The questions were relatively easy this time. A lot of people usually ask, like, production questions or design questions. So it's really...
You could ask a question, Marco. Do you have any questions?
Oh, man, Brad, there's a lot of questions. There's a lot of questions to ask and a lot of things to do. But, Brad, if I asked you the question, we would extend this episode even further, and we're nearing our limit, so...
Oh, yeah, but we do have another segment to do, don't we?
Yes, which is where we're going to right now, Brad. Are you ready for our final segment? What's our last segment, Brad? Can you tell me what's the segment?
No. Well, it's usually the pitch, but today you're replacing it with an original segment, am I right?
Yes. Brad, you're on a fire roll today because last week your segment won. Dark Souls Divide won, much to your chagrin.
Yeah, that was never meant to win.
Oh, but it did win. And I think you're on a hot streak because, again, you have won. Because people reacted way more to Televised than they did to my thing.
This is the one where we pitch a television show about a board game?
We just pitch we pitch a television show about a game. Not necessarily a board game.
Oh,
game.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's do a quick one, Brad.
Okay.
A quick one. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
Excelente. Do you have a game for me? Wait. Do you have a game for me? Or will I give you the game that I thought about?
Well, I'll give you a game, and then you can give me a game, and we can both go. So, looking back on our Game Club games for the past, what do you think an Absolver TV show would be like?
Oh, man. That'd be interesting. Of course, it would be a TV show that basically plays out like an old Chinese kung fu movie. It has to be.
Like Kung Fu The Legend Continues?
Yeah, or Kung Fu The Legend Continues, or, I don't know, Kung Pao, if you've ever watched that funny Chinese parody movie. Have you watched Kung Pao?
Yeah. No, I haven't watched Kung Pao.
It's the one with the Kung Fu cow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if you don't know... Okay, basically...
I know what it is. It's not exactly an old movie.
Yeah, that's fair. So I feel like Absolver would be about the journey of maybe one guy, of course. And I think... This is the thing about me pitching a game like this. Like, isn't the game itself a very cinematic show-like experience already? So I feel like it would just be like, just the gameplay... but make it way more coordinated, way more awesome, and way more higher production values. I think if you got Riven X Studios to do the stunts, it would be great. Yeah, okay. I need to show you videos of Riven X at some point. That's off podcast. Riven X Action Company, great. Their stunts are great, and I think they would do a really good Absolver show. And they do the fight scenes really well. It has to be really good fight scenes. A lot of fight scenes, and just I think having a silent protagonist. There's a show that I used to watch. No, not watch. There's a show that I used to read. There's a manga called Eat Man. You know that manga?
No, I'm not familiar.
So, Eat Man...
I mean, I know the title, but I've never read it.
Yeah, so a lot of it's just like this. The protagonist is basically silent, and all that happens is that he walks into vignettes. So, like, vignettes happen, he walks into them, and he basically fixes the problem or does something. And I feel like that would...
maybe it needs to be like an anthology vignette show where each week we follow another one of these masked monks on their journey through this, through this spiritual trance.
Yes, exactly. And at the end, maybe some of the monks that we've seen meet, and then they do the mystic final destiny battle on top of the mountain, right? Oh, I want the show.
Sounds pretty cool. I kind of want to watch that show too.
Oh my gosh, I want that show. Okay,
the Absolver TV show.
Oh my gosh. Okay, Brad. Here's an interesting one.
I feel like this segment could be a podcast where we just go all out and we make the show.
Oh my gosh.
Like that could be a whole episode.
Oh my gosh.
In and of itself.
Maybe we should... Listeners, if you want us to do that, We might just do it.
Spin-off podcast where we talk you through this fictional TV show based on a game.
Oh my gosh, that'd be great. Brad, can I pitch you a fictional TV? Oh, a fictional. No,
All right.
sorry. Can I pitch you a game?
All right, let's go ahead.
Okay, Brad. Let's follow our theme with talking about board games. Brad, how about what would the Steam World Dig TV show look like?
Oh man. Like this is gonna sound awful, but
okay. That's a great start to this pitch.
I would really like it to be like this rugged reality show.
Whoa.
You know, like Deadliest Catch, or like what's that show with the gold miners? Like like Pay Dirt. Where they like they go out on the rig and they're like we're going down into the into the old temple, in search of this massive trashium lode, and
oh my God.
and they bring all their equipment and they dig down, and then you have like interviews with each of the bots and talking about like how they hope they're gonna find something, or how there's some drama between them. And,
oh my gosh.
and then they dig down, and at the end they find the payload that they're looking for, and sometimes there's a twist. Sometimes Vectron shows up, or sometimes the Shiners come to disrupt their equipment at night, or but it's not like there's a battle. It's like there's drama. Like they wake up and the equipment's been trashed, and it's like, oh, I bet it was them Shiners, and then like old Rusty's gonna go down and have a word with them.
Oh my God.
and meanwhile, it doesn't follow Rusty on his adventure. It follows like the prospector. They fix the machine and and follow their own drama.
I would watch that. I would actually watch that.
Oh, it could be pretty tongue in cheek. It'd have to be like an animated reality show, but it could be pretty funny.
Yeah. Like, what was that? I mean, like, okay, I can't say the name of the show, but there's a cartoon that like tries to emulate Big Brother. I won't say the name of the show because it's not safe for work.
Okay. Yeah. Is this that Cartoon Network one with the with all the cartoons living in the house together?
Yeah, and they're all like obviously of different styles, and one of them, and they're all
So, I mean, this is not a kids cartoon.
Yeah, it's not a kids cartoon,
but it's not like an adult cartoon, and
yeah, pretty much. So that pretty much does it for this. Guys, tell us, whose show do you like more? Absolver Mystical Destiny Chinese Kung Fu movie battle, or the best reality show about robots digging gold and trashium out of the dirt? It sounds way worse than it actually is, but it's so good. I'd watch it.
Oh man, yeah, this is a fun segment. We got to do this again sometime.
Yeah, we should. Yeah, this is way better than Dark Soulsified.
All right. Well, cool. Well, I think that about wraps it up for this week's Level Cap podcast. I'm just going to reiterate the news, even though we said at the beginning. Temporal Odyssey this Friday. Come and join us on Kickstarter. Super cool game. Check out the videos of me and Marco playing it, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. We want to make this is really a game that we could grow, unlike say like Argent or some of the like the games that we've done where it's like this is the box. This is a game where we really want to put a lot of stuff in the box, and so we came to Kickstarter because it is a game. It's a game with a lot of room to grow.
Yeah.
So yeah, we could just hit the goal and print it. We could probably print it ourselves, but we really want to get everyone involved so that we can print it with like twice as much stuff.
Yeah.
That's my end game.
I see. So, you said like somewhere in the Kickstarter that it's a $20 game, but by the end of it, you want it to be a $40 game. It's kind of like you're going for, right? You kind of want to make it like almost double the amount of content inside.
Yeah, I'd like it. Yeah, it starts as like a 120 card game or 130 card game, and I'd like to make it about a 200 card game by the time we're done.
Oh,
maybe even a little bit more with all the Kickstarter bonuses.
Yeah,
and you can play as Pritchard Leftfield, and after we hit some of our stretch goals, you can play as Wellesley. So our two time travelers from Millennium Blades and World of Indians also join in the time traveler.
Is there an Exceed time traveler?
So cool.
We need an Exceed time traveler too.
Not yet.
I see. All right. And then aside from that, we're also getting BattleCon online, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the alpha should be up pretty soon. If you back the Kickstarter, you will be able to play it when that comes out. If not, then just wait a few more weeks. We're actually going to use the match records from the Kickstarter backers to build our AI, so that we can have solo AI play. And then once that feature is in, it'll be about time for a more formal launch.
I see. And let's not forget the 7th cross updates. And just watch out for it, right? A lot of people are really hyped.
Yeah,
for
just look
cross.
out for it. It's pretty cool. I'm very excited for this version. It definitely feels the way it felt when we decided to make Millennium Blades real time. There was kind of this sudden shift where everything like clicked into place, and I feel that same shift with 7th Cross happening. So I think we're just about ready to nail down the formula and start building the content and getting the game to press.
All right. But, Brad, I think I'm done talking about the news. Can we do our last segment? Our goodbye segment.
Absolutely, Marco. Why don't you take it away?
Take it away. Take me away. As usual, it has been me, your host, Marco DeSantos, also known as Mechanic Critic, and with me is my wonderful, wonderful 7th Cross co-host,
Brad Talon.
And
nice to be here again with you this week, Marco.
And
hope you folks at home have a great week. We'll see you next time.
And as usual, happy gaming.
Happy gaming.